Airtech Mod Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 5, and my thoughts on another filler episode. Yes, this was another filler episode, and you could really feel there was no point in this episode. I mean, I would say it's more of an advert for the new Force Awakens, Fallen Order game that's coming out, because there's a reference to a certain species in this episode, and yeah, that's about all that was actually in this episode. Just mentioning a species from a Star Wars game. Nothing else happened in this episode. It was the blandest episode I think we've ever seen from The Bad Batch. Nothing actually happened. There's also this new character, Fee, I think her name is. She brings nothing to this episode. They try to make her like this kind of big character, but it kind of just feels like you're trying to make me like, you're trying to explain to me why she's here, and all I'm going to say to you is, don't give a shit. She's boring and annoying at the same time. What annoys me about filler episodes is in Clone Wars, there were plenty of filler episodes. There was a lot of them. You know, you had the filler episode with the Senator assassination, which was that was a great episode. You had the General Grievous nearly getting captured by the Jedi episode, which was a filler episode. But what I'm talking about is these filler episodes in the Clone Wars never felt like they were filler episodes. They never felt boring. And this problem is a problem that's continued from the Rebel series, because they had a lot of filler episodes that did nothing as well. And Dave Filoni, this problem has continued with him to this show and to the fucking live action shows. He makes filler episodes that are boring and pointless. When he had George Lucas over him, George Lucas, I kind of think, made sure he didn't focus on these episodes, or at least made sure these episodes that were filler actually had a point to them, or at least were entertaining to watch. And I don't know why Filoni has done this. I don't know why he's making boring episodes that we don't need. This series is 16 episodes long, if I remember rightly. Why do you don't have to make that many episodes just to fill a quota, because they're just boring to watch and add nothing to the show. They really don't. I'm sorry, it's just you just don't need it. You really don't. This episode was boring. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because nothing really happened. And again, we have the same fucking trope with the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch go on a mission to make money and fail miserably at doing that. So there. That's my non-spoiler review. It's a boring episode. It brings back an alien species from the Fallen Order games, and we learn literally nothing else about them. Oh, and the pointless ending, which was really annoying, which I'm going to go into in spoilers. But yeah, overall, it's a 4 out of 10, a dumb episode. Don't waste your time watching it. Can we get back to the main story now with the Bad Batch? 2 fucking filler episodes. 2. Absolutely annoying. And after episode 3, you kind of thought this show was going to go somewhere. And now 2 shit episodes. I am fucking annoyed. So, if you don't want to hear spoilers now, leave in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, the episode starts off with Omega and Wrecker at a fucking garbage or a dump or whatever. And they're looking for supplies, or at least looking for stuff to sell. They find a couple of things, and Omega finds this compass thing. And they head back to the bar to meet up with the rest of the group, where we then see Fee telling those two random guys a story about an octopus grabbing her, and then Hunter and Echo talk about the fact her stories are kind of ridiculous and are probably lies. That's what they say. Then Omega and Rekka come in, show off what they got, and Fee sees the compass that Omega has and opens it, and then goes on about a tale about there's a secret mountain heart gold thing that could make a lot of money for them. So Blake, when I first heard the whole this could make us a lot of money, so let's go on a mission to go make money, if you haven't realised what that means, which is literally let's go do a boring story to go get money that the Bad Batch are obviously going to fail in making money, because that's happened every fucking mission when they have done this. Every fucking mission the Bad Batch have gone on to make money has fucking failed. That is how ridiculous this fucking show has become, that when they say they're going to make money, you can obviously tell they're not going to make a goddamn thing. It is fucking annoying. So Omega keeps, acting like a child and says, let's go make money, woohoo, and let's go find the mountain gold jewel thing. And so Hunter obviously agrees. They head off to the planet to try to find the buried treasure. Oh, and Fee's blatantly a pirate, but she likes to pretend that she's a archaeologist type thing. This episode did kind of feel a little bit like Indiana Jones. A little bit. That's all I'm going to say. I'll give it a plus in that, but other than that, this episode was shit. Anyway, so they get to the planet. The planet's basically a wasteland, so they're not really sure why they're there, because how can buried treasure or something valuable be here? But then Fee goes on about the history of the compass, how it's very old, so there must be something valuable here because this is the time before the Republic, the time before certain races and all that shit. I kind of thought they were going to... Now, I had a kind of worry in this episode because I thought they were going to do a crossover with the Disney's... What is it called? The New Republic or the Old Republic? No, it's not Old Republic. I know, it's the Disney rip-off of the Old Republic. I thought they were going to tie it in to Disney's rip-off of that. But they didn't. So, happy about that. Because, again, the Old Republic Star Wars stuff is fantastic. I really want Disney just to always not try to connect their Star Wars with that Star Wars. I really am hoping they don't do that. Anyway, so they go through, they find the tunnels, they find the mountain, they then go through the mountain's tunnels things, they find a bunch of puzzles and shit. Then Omega figures out that the compass, if you shine a light through it, shows signs on the rocks so that they can move the rocks into the correct position to open the door to the secret tunnels into the mountain. And this did feel a lot like Fallen Order, which was a good game, by the way. I'm not saying anything against that game. It was a good game. It did feel like Fallen Order. That's why I say this kind of feels like an advert for the Fallen Order game, because you do a little bit of stuff that you've done in that game. So maybe they're trying to push this episode so it ties into the game as well. I don't know. Because you see a creature as well in this episode that attacks the Bad Batch when they go through the door, which attacks Rekka. It seems to be able to take a lot of fire, so it's very dangerous. So this may be a creature you're going to fight in the new Fallen Order game. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so they go through the mountain, they get attacked by the creature, then the creature, causes so much havoc, it makes the cave in, and the Bad Batch are split up, where you have Echo, Tech, and Wrecker one side, and Hunter, Omega, and Fee on the other. So they split up, try to figure out a way to meet up in the middle of the mountain. And then you have Wrecker and Fee and Omega walk into this other tunnel system where they see a bunch of stuff on the floor. When Hunter tries to walk over it, he falls through a hole, but manages to pull himself up with the help of Fee and Omega. And then Omega shines a light at the top of the cave where you see a bunch of symbols. She then puts the compass in a hole thing that's designed to hold the compass, that turns the cave over so it's safe for them to walk through, which they do. They then meet back up with Wrecker, Tech, and Echo, and they figure out a way through the door that they see. I don't really remember this scene. Anyway, they get through some fucking door, and then they enter into this weird cavern thing where you think it's a cavern until it lights up, and then they find the jewel of the mountain, and Fee pulls it out, and then all hell breaks loose because the whole thing lights up. It turns out they're in a command system structure, which it turns out to be a massive fucking robot, which is definitely a tie-in to the Fallen Order race people thing. I don't really remember what they were called, but you know those people who had those machines walking about that were firing all those weapons out of their chest, because they have just found a massive version of that, which is just a massive walker from this secret alien race, which then starts attacking for no reason, and it just blows up a bunch of ground. And then Hunter has to tell Fee, you have to put the jewel back into the mountain or back into where you took it from, because if you don't, it's going to destroy our ship and we're going to be stuck on this planet. But Fee doesn't want to do that because she wants to make a shitload of money, so she keeps hesitating, but the machine keeps, firing off its weird beam things. And by the way, the reason I say that this robot is from that race from the Fallen Order game is because the weapons sound exactly like the robots from firing from the chest thing. They sound exactly the same. So these are obviously from this same species. Now, we are seeing a lot more of this species now in Star Wars games, because seeing it in Bad Batch and in the Fallen Order game, if we see this in a live action, then yes, Dave Filoni is definitely trying to do something with this race in the future, which I think may be interesting if it happens. Anyway, so Fee then drops the crystal thing. It falls down a hole. She has to then go down and chase after it, and she nearly falls out of the walker, but Hunter manages to grab her, pulls her back up. They end up putting the jewel back into the machine, and then the jewel just melts, and then the machine just self-destructs for no reason. Again, this whole machine makes no sense. I can tell it's a weapon, I can tell this is probably a testing site, but you telling me that when you activate this walker, the only thing it's meant to do is go on a fucking ridiculous rampage or just self-destruct? Where's the control system? Why is it not, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what is the purpose of this machine? Because all it did was fire a couple of beams and blow itself up. That's why I say this episode was pointless, because you don't really find out anything. Oh, fucking hell. You don't even hear what this machine was. You don't even hear about the species that created it. You learn nothing from it. Fee doesn't even say anything about it. She just moans about the crystal most of the episode. So the machine blows up, but the Bad Batch survive, and Fee survives. They get back to the ship and then just go on the same old fucking tangent of, well, at least we're safe, but we didn't make any money at the end of the day, and then the episode ends with Fee saying, on to the next mission, or on to the next fucking adventure or something, and then the episode ends. This is a dumb episode. We learn nothing in this episode. It pushes the story nowhere. We just wasted half an hour on nothing. Again, I do think it's somewhat of a little advert for the new Fallen Order game, but I could be wrong. But there's nothing else from this episode that matters. Nothing. We don't know anything about the Empire. We don't learn that much about the Bad Batch. There's just nothing here. The only thing was this stupid robot activating and just doing absolutely nothing. Dave, you have to stop making filler episodes that just do nothing. It was a boring episode and it was a pointless episode. You don't have to watch this. And it's just gutting. Because we went from episode 3, which was the best episode of both seasons so far of The Bad Batch, to 2 terrible filler episodes. Well, the first filler episode wasn't that bad because the riot racing was kind of interesting, but this episode is just pointless. Absolutely fucking pointless, and a waste of fucking time watching. That's what's annoyed me right now. Really has, because it was my day off work and I was very happy, and then I got to watch this shit. And again, The Bad Batch is not that bad. Like, there are good stories in this show, but I'm just massively disappointed because this episode was just a waste of time. And that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment Soldier. Bye.